Aussie. "We are to immobilize it and bring it back to the lab for decommissioning." With a quick blur, Dunas disappeared as Asya did the same. Oberon and Alheben spread their wings, flying as quickly as they could to catch up to their Magus friends, who were flitting across the hot sands in flashes and plumes of dust. When they reached Majagatia, the sight of burning buildings and piles of rubble shocked them. "How many Mavericks escaped?" Oberon asked, her eyes wide in disbelief. "Only one," Asya replied. "One? And it did all this? How many was Majagatia going to make?" Alheben squeaked.
1,000. This one unit was the prototype for the new AI system. As you can see, it's good that only one was created. There it goes!
Dunas shouted as he leaned into his step, appearing above the Maverick and casting a binding spell, which the android easily dodged. Asya ran to flank it, casting her own spell to push it toward the waiting sisters. The Maverick looked to Asya as her spell formed and scanned her hands, analyzing what was about to take place at breakneck speeds, scrolling across its vision commands and results. Scanning subject. Attack origin hands. Type energy. Threat medium. Attack plot. Within a split second, the Maverick twisted its body, avoiding the spell and firing its cannon at her. Oberon bolted between Asya and the mech, the shot ricocheting off her sword. Alheben flew up behind it, swinging her down hard. The Maverick avoided the attack, moving near light speed. Its fist whistled as the Maverick buried its steel fist into Alphabean's gut, forcing every last ounce out of her hair.
"Ashley!"
Dunas shouted, appearing below to catch her as she fell, her stomach seizing in shock. Oberon grit her teeth, flashing to the Maverick as if she were teleporting. The Maverick attempted to analyze her moves as she raised her sword, but was overwhelmed at her speed. Blow after thunderous blow hit the android as it tried to defend or parry until it was simply unable to predict her moves. With one hard swing, Oberon struck it across the chest. The android spiraled to the ground, exploding in a cloud of dust. It pulled itself from the rubble when its cracked display fuzzed and snowed, trying to formulate an attack plot. Oberon raised her sword above her head. A large seal blazed to life behind her as she flew down and slammed into the android as she swung hard left. She then swept her sword back right before spinning around and slamming her sword onto the android in an earth-shaking explosion. As the dust settled, it revealed the broken Maverick, solenoids, and drive motors trying to pick the shattered android up. Eventually, they failed, as the power supply and CPU shut down. Sparks showered the ground as hydraulic fluid pooled on the ground like blood. My, Oberon. When did you learn to control your sword's mass? With that last strike you dealt, your sword grew to an enormous size, Asya asked, thoroughly impressed. Okay, so what's being referred to here is in the old storyline of Neo Tokyo, both the bosses, Alheben and Oberon, they actually had one specific move that they could do to where, like I said, they would sweep their sword like left, right, and then bam, right on top. It was like really, really quick, and you had sound effects where it was like, whoom, 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 ground exploding all over the place. It was actually pretty cool looking. I wish I could actually find the that animation for it, because most of the time that what I do find is people just like soloing them from the old past. It was just like, okay, yeah, 5 hits, okay, they're dead. I kind of want to see what happened. Give me a move showcase. But even back then, there were people that were overpowered that could just beat bosses in a heartbeat. But that's kind of what it's going after. And the thing was, with that move, every single swing she had, again, it kind of looked like a lightsaber, but like in the shape of almost like a great, not a great sword, but almost a a broadsword kind of deal. And with every swing, the sword actually got bigger. So, like, left, it was, like, normal size. Right, it was, like, a half again bigger. And then, the last move, it was, like, twice its size. And just slammed down on top of you. So that's kind of what happened there. Okay, here we go. Alf-Heben taught it to me. It comes in handy when something isn't going your way. We've yet to come up with a name for it yet. Are you okay, sis? Oberon asked as she knelt next to Alf-Heben, still catching her breath in Dunas's arms. I'm okay, Oberon. I thought that android's punch would go right through me. She coughed, rubbing her stomach where no doubt a dark bruise would form in the morning.
He would have if he had been fully operational. It was limited to 40% of its full potential. At full power, we would all be dead,
Dunas surmised, gravely, as he set Alf-Heben down and walked over to the smoldering pile of twisted metal. With a wave of his hand, he levitated the android and started back for Maid's workshop.
What is this? I asked you to bring the Maverick back to me, not a pile of scrap metal,
Maid roared, as his now mostly mechanical body rolled over to it, while the machinist snaked himself over to them, scanning over the twisted pile.
It doesn't look that bad, Maid. The CPU is still intact, and while a bit dented, the drive core hasn't been ruptured. All in all, they did exactly as we asked. We still need to make a new prototype chassis,
Maid mumbled, as his small mechanical hands reached out and pulled the CPU from the crushed body, while the machinist went to work at disconnecting the drive core. How is Carson these days? Alf-Heben asked, eager to visit one of her teachers. Maid shook his head and sighed, the mechanical lungs he had made wheezing as he did.
He died peacefully just under a month ago. I offered him some of my technologies to extend his life, but his stubborn Xenuous pride wouldn't let me. He was both a bitter rival and a good friend. If nothing else, he was fun to argue with,
he replied nostalgically, becoming lost in his work. Alf-Heben sighed, patting the large man on the back, and going to the old man's gravesite to pay his respects before leaving. All right. I need water. I'm getting thirsty. Oh, and for any of you watching live, and for those of you who are going to be watching this on YouTube later, if you have any comments or questions, by all means, put them out, whether it's here live in chat or comments in the YouTube channel. I do not consider myself a expert writer in any sense of the word. So if you have any questions or comments, I am more than open to conversation about that. Okay. The small group started back to the restored palace city of Orion by taking a long and scenic route. It led through the garden province of Mulong and up to the mountains of El Nath, where the mystic crystal ribbons floated above the sky like curtains of light. Oberon and Alf-Heben often liked traveling this road on their way to see their battlemaster, Sogong. Oberon would often dream of things far beyond the stars, while Alf-Heben would let her imagination take her away on some story that had a romantic ending.
Ossia, take Oberon ahead. I wish to speak with Alf-Heben.
Dunas whispered, stopping and admiring the valley below, watching the sunset as it painted the sky in brilliant colors. Oberon was surprised at first when Ossia asked her to come with her, but made the connection once she told Alf-Heben that Dunas would like to speak with her. Just before the two of them left, Oberon whispered into Alfie Ben's ear. Just stay calm.